Will you punch me in the solar plexus right now? Oh, there it is. No. Oh, no. Oh. All right, Tunch. My coach, Coach Hart at Latrobe, taught me a couple of valuable things. Keep chopping your feet and don't quit.
Right.
And that's the value of sport. That's the value of football. It instills values.
Yeah.
But you've taken it to the next level, written your book and talking about the principles of the Stil'rs and how they built the organization.
Yeah, you know, the thing about that you realize when you walk into the Stil'rs facility, whether it's here or it's Three Rivers Stadium 37 years ago, is the humility of the organization. I'll never forget my first day at Three Rivers Stadium. It was before the draft. The Stil'rs brought in 3 players for a physical and to meet Chuck Noll and to see if they were going to draft us. And it was me, Ted Walton, and Nate Johnson. We just met with the doctors, and we're sitting in the lobby, and you walk into the lobby, and there's the 4 Super Bowl trophies right in the middle, and there's that collage of the AFC, or that mural of the AFC Championship game, and in that mural there's Lambert, Joe Green, and Gene Upshaw, and all these Hall of Famers, right? And then so we're sitting there, and we're waiting to meet Chuck, and so the chief walks in, and the chief is dressed very casually, and he's wearing a cardigan, and it's misbuttoned, so half of it's hanging down.
Did he have a cigar?
He's chewing on a cigar. He had this golf shirt buttoned to the top button before it was the fashion. He had a big ashtray in his hand, and he was taking little ashtrays, because back then you could smoke in lobbies of businesses. So he's taking the little ashtrays and dumping them in the big ashtray. And Nate, and he says, "Hello, young fellers, what are your names?" And so we introduce ourselves, and before he can introduce himself, Nate Johnson goes, "So, are you the janitor here?"
Wow.
And I'm like,
to the chief.
To the chief. And I'm like going, "Don't you know that?" And I'm just like so embarrassed. My ears are burning. And I'm just praying that the chief doesn't think that Nate and I are buddies.
Yeah, sure.
And so, and what was beautiful was the chief went, "I do a little of everything around here." Mm-hmm. And what that told me was that this guy that had won 4 Super Bowl trophies, that was in the Hall of Fame, had such a sense of humility about him that he was actually honored to be thought of as a working man.
Yes, sir.
And that just spoke, so the first thing that you learn about the Stil'rs, that when they say faith, family, football, that's not just talk, that's real. There is humility. You go to the league meetings or you go to the Super Bowls, you see all these owners come up in limos and fleets of limos. You see the ambassador driving his own car. He rents a car and he drives it himself, and so that just spoke volumes to me. As all right, that's how you live your life. And the chief had a mantra. He said, "Don't be a big shot," and that's gone down from generation to generation, from the chief to the ambassador to Art II, and it's so prevalent here that you just have this real feel of, wow, this is a very neat place to
family.
Yeah, right.
The name of the book, Forged in Steel, is almost self-evident.
Right.
Stilltown, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But to have principles and values that lead to success, they better be solid. They better be steel-like.
Yeah.
So what do you examine in the book?
Well, you know what, I look at the mentoring that happens here, the teaching. One of the things that I think it really stood out to me about Chuck Noll is he was the consummate teacher. He would stop practice and say, "I understand what we're trying to do here. Understand conceptually what the defense you're playing against is doing. Understand what you're trying to do from an offensive standpoint." I mean, that was very, very evident that all the assistant coaches, from Tony Dungy to Raleigh Dotch, my offensive line coach, to Joe Green, who was a teammate who became a defensive line coach, they were all teachers. And there was this, unity among the teaching, and they all kind of coached the same way. And so because of that kind of philosophy, there was also a mentoring aspect of that. One of the really cool things is that when I came here as a rookie, I thought I knew football. I thought I understood from my collegiate career, but I had no idea about football. And I thought I worked hard, but I didn't realize until I started following Mike Webster and John Kolb and Larry Brown and those guys and working out with them and staying after practice and watching film. And Chuck was always there is no substitute for hard work. Don't take shortcuts, and so that, do the ordinary things extraordinarily. And as I started hanging out with Colby and Mike Webster, there was another element that I had never seen, and these guys had a love for Christ, and they had a love for each other, and they loved me. And I grew up in a Muslim home, and really when I came to the Stil'rs, I had a real dark past. I was a druggie, I was a liar, I was a thief. And I met these guys, and I thought Christians were goofy, and I thought Christians were weird, and I wanted nothing to do with them. And here I come to the Stil'rs. Boy, does God have a sense of humor.
Yes, he does.
He puts me right in the middle of a bunch of men who love Jesus and that are men's men. And when I found out that God loved me to the point of the cross, and that I could not do anything on my own to get to heaven, but I could just receive the free gift of eternal life, and that blew me away. I wanted to know about this Jesus. I wanted to know about this God that loved me that much, that he would pay the price for my salvation, that he would do for me what I could never do for myself.
What a wonderful story. And again, your analogy from a child to a man, not only as a football player, but as a mature adult, a spiritual adult, was an incredible journey for you. Right. Now here you are all these years later in the broadcast booth.
Can you believe it? Yeah.
No, you're inarticulate, let alone writing a book.
You know what I say? I always say that you do TV and radio when you have no other marketable skills. I coach youth football, and I've done some coaching with different NFL teams using, NFL teams will bring me in to work with their offensive line to teach how to pass block.
Punch block. The old punch power block.
That's right.
Joe Moore at Pitt
that's
even
right.
made a half of a lineman out of me with the punch block.
Well, so I worked with a martial artist 10 out of the 14 years I played, a guy named Bill Edwards Sarge, and who was a great teacher. And he took the punch that guys like Joe Moore and Dan Radakovich and Raleigh Dodge and our coaches taught, and he taught me how to do it better, how to be more efficient at it, because he was a martial artist. When I retired in '94, I got a call from the offensive line coach of the Carolina Panthers. He said, "I'm looking at your TUNCH PUNCH tape," and I'm like, "TUNCH PUNCH tape?" He goes, "Yeah," and I go, "I didn't do a TUNCH PUNCH." He goes, "Yes, you did," and it turned out to be one of my workouts. He said, "Will you come teach my guys?" So I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." So I went down, and next thing you know, the Cowboys called me up, and the Colts called me up, and then I'm flying around the country doing these clinics.
Will you punch me in the solar plexus right now? Oh, geez, there it is.
So anyway, I'm just very thankful that the Lord has given me some very cool things to do.
Amen.
And I don't think it could have happened anywhere but here.
There you go. Forged in Still, not only a story about a football player, but of a child to manhood, no doubt.
Yeah, amen.